Raiders. They still have problems coming to the East Coast.
Got a
I'll
special
call
guest.
that a win.
This Jets season is going to be a nightmare, isn't it?
And welcome aboard, everybody, here to the Sports Talk Nation. Michael Cohen here with you. And you know what time it is, folks? It is football season. That's right. Football is indeed here. And we are going to preview the 2020 New York Jets. I know. Disappointing. What am I doing? We're going to talk about football. We're talking about the Jets. I know. It's sad. But here we are. It's hard to believe that we are actually in football season right now because of everything that's been going on with COVID-19 and everything being shut down, the sports world starting and then stopping and then starting and stopping and everything in between. And somehow we have gotten here to the NFL season. It's hard to believe it's here, but it is here. So to join me today to talk about the New York Jets and to preview the New York Jets 2020 campaign from the Jets podcast is the one and only Dan Feuerstein. Dan, how are you doing?
Doing very well, Michael. I am excited. I cannot wait to see this season get underway. You know, with everything that's happened with coronavirus, it's still amazing to me that the NFL is going to have a season getting off the ground and on time. I really thought that they might delay it, maybe knock off some games in the regular season, but they've been staunched and determined to get it underway.
They're going to get it underway. I mean, you know, when you take a look at this thing, look at baseball, what's going on over there. Even in the NHL, they've found a way to get these games in. Baseball has been start and stop, especially with the COVID-19 that have forced a lot of teams to suspend games, postpone games, and somehow they're going to get it in. I mean, they're somehow going to get the regular season finished. You would have to imagine, and get to the postseason. That will be another question in and of itself, but. As far as the NFL is concerned, you know, they've gotten through training camp without any real major COVID outbreaks, which is a testament to what the teams are doing right now. They didn't have any preseason games, which certainly played a big role in that. But now we're going to have the games go on for real. So that's what it feels like the season's kind of sneaking up on people because there was no real lead up to the season. But here we are. So let's get right to it, folks. Key number one, Dan. I think I'll just kick it off here. Has to be, obviously, Sam Darnold in his progression here in 2020. Here's a quarterback who each of the last 2 years, each of his first two seasons in the NFL, has been kind of a guy who gets off to slow starts in the season and then progressively gets better. Now, he has had a lot of issues, of course, with staying on the field, injuries being the biggest problem for him. The mono situation was certainly something that nobody expected last year. So you have to hope from that standpoint that, Sam Darnold stays healthy this year for 2020, and depending on what the Jets have around him, and there's a lot of questions about that. We'll get into that a little bit. Obviously, the offensive line that has been retooled. The receiving core, a lot of people say it leaves a lot to be desired. Did not look too great in training camp, according to multiple reports. It's going to be a big year for him. A lot of people think that this is a make-or-break year for Sam Darnold as a third-year quarterback. So my question to you is, how big of a year do you think this is for him? Do you think this is a situation where, if he does not do well this year, that the Jets may have to look into another direction at quarterback? How do you feel?
Personally, I feel they should not go into a different direction to quarterback. They really shouldn't, because, you know, you're not going to – whoever reported that if Sam Darnold does not do the job that he's supposed to do in his third year in the NFL is absolutely – I would say not looking, you know, at the real issues with Sam Darnold. And it's not because he's not been on the football field. It's because who's been on the sidelines. You know, you cannot complain about how Sam Darnold did in his rookie year with Todd Bowles, and then you move on to Adam Gase into the second year of Sam Darnold's tenure. And already you're saying that the third year it's crucial, or else the Jets must find another quarterback in the draft? No, that's impossible. You cannot do that to this team. You cannot do that to Sam Darnold, because Sam Darnold is the franchise quarterback of this NFL team. Simply put, you forced him to learn two different offensive game plans with two different head coaches. Sam Darnold is the franchise quarterback of the New York Jets, and the only way for him to get better, which will be my take for the offense after we're done with Sam, which I'll get to in a minute, like I've said, it's impossible. Sam Darnold is the franchise quarterback of the New York Jets.
No, I mean, this will be his second year in the Adam Gase system. We'll see how he progresses. Obviously, there's a lot of concern about the head coach, but, it is going to be his third full year in the league. Let's see what he can do. Go ahead. What's your key?
It's the offensive line. The offensive line, as some have said, has retooled, has improved. Some say, it's improved, but it's not top-level offensive linemen. Some of them are probably coming off the bench. But the big help, and I really think that drafting him this year was a complete stroke of genius by Joe Douglas, which is Mekhi Becton. Adam Gase said he's playing like he's been a veteran for the last 5-7 years. So to me, to see Mekhi Becton and hearing those reports that he's been doing very well on the offensive line, something tells me that not only will Sam Darnold be protected on the left side, this could be an offense running, maybe even throwing, depending on if these wide receivers are going to be on their, on target with everything that they're doing with Sam. This could help out Sam Darnold's development. This could also give him more time than normal, having his left side protected by Mekhi Becton.
I agree with you, and you add to that with the other additions the Jets have made to the offensive line. Obviously, Connor McGovern is the big addition at center. They needed to have a good player there, and they have one now in Connor McGovern coming over from the Broncos. Now, Greg Van Roten didn't have a great career, not a distinguished career, obviously, coming over here. Neither did George Font coming over from Seattle. But those guys are going to be starters right now. That's what it looks like at the right side of the offensive line, at guard and right tackle. It's going to be a new offensive line. I'll be very interested to see how much they've gelled in training camp. Remember, we've had no preseason games. We've had no ability to see how this unit works together in protecting Sam Darnold and creating space for Le'Veon Bell. But that is going to be the big key, obviously, for this entire season is going to be the offensive line for the New York Jets. Now, my next key, Mr. Feuerstein, let's just flip it over to the other side of the ball, and let's go into the secondary. Let's go back into that secondary with Bradley McDougald. When the Jets traded Jamal Adams, and you and I both went off of this about how the Jets made the right decision in trading Adams. They couldn't have somebody who was a distraction, good player, but it was becoming a distraction and a problem for the team. Now they trade him to Seattle, and what they got in return, not only did they get the draft picks in return, but they get Bradley McDougald, who really looked good in training camp so far this summer. Guy's a ball hawk who'll go after the football. Could be a big pickup for the Jets this year. So there's something brewing there for the Jets in the secondary, and that's been an issue for them for a couple of years.
And I agree with you there with the secondary, Michael. This is going to be a big task for the secondary. For the secondary. Let's not forget Marcus May. I think Marcus May has something to prove as well. Marcus May, of course, was told by Jamal Adams before he was traded to Seattle on Twitter, "It was nice playing with you, nice knowing with you. I'll see you at another time because I won't be here." And, that's really devastating to hear that, when your secondary teammates, you hear these things coming from a guy who has, potential to being probably one of the best safeties in the league. Not there yet, but, has potential. And unfortunately, like you said, he became a distraction, a major distraction, not just for the Jets as a whole, as a team and organization, but the fan base as well. And I'm not saying, look, I wanted to keep him on this team. I wanted him to get paid. But at the same time, 2-3 years, and you already had your option year picked up, so you had 2 more years left in your contract. Once again, everything that happened, it happened for a reason, and Jamal wanted out. So he's gone. We don't have to worry about him. Bradley McDougald looks fantastic. For my pick for defense, the front seven has to be a lot better. The pass rush has to be much better. Quinnen Williams needs to go out there, and he needs to prove why he's a number 1 draft pick last year, because he really needs to step it up. We really need to see this defensive seven, this front seven, really improve, go after the quarterback, put the quarterback on his back.
We've done our keys as far as on the field. One last key here for me, Dan. Maybe you can join me on this one, and then we'll go into the schedule. The big key is obviously the biggest, the 3,000-pound whale in the room right now, and that is Adam Gase. What's going to happen with him? This is a big year for him. There has been, a lot of concern with the way he coaches, a lot of concern about the way he gets along with players. Le'Veon Bell tried to squash some of that with his relationship with Gase, which has been a tick for tappy going back to when Gase came out and said that he wasn't crazy about having Bell because he didn't want to pay him so much money. That was last year. And then there was questions this year during camp about the hamstring injury, whether Bell had one or not. So other than Bell, obviously his relationship with Jamal Adams may have soured. There was a lot of talk about that. So if this team doesn't play well, let's just get to the bottom line. If this team doesn't play well, could this be curtains for Adam Gase in 2020? That is the big question for the Jets. That's a big question for Adam Gase. He was not a popular pick. Keep on Joe Douglas, even though he and Gase are supposedly close. Pick him to be the head coach of this team. So there's that as well. So this is a big year for him. I will say what I said to you earlier in the year. If the Jets do make the playoffs, or if they're a 9-win team, he's not going to go anywhere. Anything less than that, well, then it could get interesting. Yeah.
If he goes off to a 3-1 start, anything from 2-2, 3-1, or a 4-0, to me, he stays.
Yeah.
If he goes 1-3 or 0-4, you gotta cut the cord. You gotta get him out of here. I'm sorry. Normally, I wouldn't be this cutthroat when it comes to a brand new head coach that's going to his second year, but the truth is that. We cannot waste the time of Sam Darnold's career. We cannot waste the time of any of these young players' careers if this offense is not going to do the job. Right now, I understand, like you've said, the wide receiver core is not at the standard we're expecting it to be. Denzel Mims right now coming back from a hamstring injury, obviously a tight hamstring injury. We're also seeing, Brashard Perryman, how much he says he loves that Sam Darnold, the touch he has on throwing the football. But once again, it's not going to mean anything unless Adam Gase recognizes by not putting a square peg into a round hole.
So with that, folks, let's go right into the schedule. Let's go, Dan. Let's go through it. First of all, what is your prediction for the season? If you want to go, win-loss, go right ahead. But, let's go quickly through the schedule here on your end first.
Okay, well, let's see. Week 1, they're going to start the season at the Buffalo Bills. I feel good about this one. I feel it's a win because the Jets so far are 2-0 the last 2 years up in Western New York. So once again, I call that a win for week 1. Week 2, I feel they'll lose their home opener to the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, that's a team that went to the Super Bowl last year. Maybe there might be a hiccup. Some are predicting the Chiefs will have a hiccup this year. They won't be as dominant as they were last year. But still, though, I think San Francisco still has enough and a much better team than the Jets are. I'll say that's a loss. Indianapolis is going through a transition period. I think that'll be a win on the road at Indianapolis, so that would go 2-1 there. Denver is also going through a transition. Maybe it's 3-1 at the moment for the Jets. Arizona, I think that could be a loss right there for the Jets. I don't know if they'll do anything there. Then they move on to SoFi Stadium on October the 18th at the LA Chargers. They're going to share with the Rams now, their new home in Inglewood, California. Could be a win. You got to have a rookie quarterback. I think the Jets will have an advantage on him there, so that'll be a win. Buffalo, I think Buffalo has done well at MetLife. I know they should have lost last year's season opener with the injury, sadly, to C.J. Mosley that killed the Jets in the fourth quarter, completely killed them in the fourth quarter. Still, though, Buffalo's done well the last 2 years at MetLife, so I'll say that'll be a loss for the Jets.
Okay.
Then the Jets go to Kansas City, the defending Super Bowl champions, still too strong. Kansas City, that'll be a loss. Big matchup against New England. I think that's a win right there. Miami on the road, which, look, right now the Dolphins, they're kind of in a similar situation. They'll still have Ryan Fitzpatrick. Will they go with the brand new kid, depending on how the situation starts? For now, I'll say it's a loss in Miami. But then after the bye week, Miami comes to MetLife, and I'll call that a win. Now the Raiders, now the Las Vegas Raiders, they still have problems coming to the East Coast. I'll call that a win. And then they go on the road against Seattle at the Rams. I think those two are losses right there. Cleveland at home so far at the moment on December the 27th, Sunday. But Cleveland is supposed to be, the sexy pick for the NFL media. They think Baker Mayfield and the Browns are going to do something magical this year. Until they prove it, which I don't think they will, that could be a win for the Jets. That could be 8-7 right there. And then you're on the road at New England, possibly, depending on what Cam Newton does and Bill Belichick, I believe that could be a win.
Okay, so let me go through the schedule here. So week 1 at Buffalo. I mean, you'll keep in mind the last 2 times the Jets have played Buffalo week 1 have been losses. Last year and then 2 years prior to that in 2017 at Buffalo, by the way. Last time they just lost the game in Buffalo, as you mentioned. So I'm going to say it's going to be tough. I mean, I could see the Jets going up there and sneaking out a win, but I'm going to go with Buffalo. A little more experience, a little bit better defense. I'm going to say Buffalo gets the win. So a loss for the Jets week 1. Week 2, do we even need to go there? Loss. 0-2 at the Colts. I'm going to say miracles happen. Miracles do happen. And I'm going to say the Jets find a way to get a victory at the Colts, so they'll get to 1-2. Denver at home. This is going to be tricky, Danny, because you've got a young team there in the Broncos, just like the Jets. A lot of people like the young quarterback there. They still got a pretty good defense. It's just going to be one of those Thursday nights you're going to sit there and say, how the hell did you lose this game? I'm going to say the Jets are going to lose this game 4-1-3. It just
go there.
It just feels like one of those games right now. But, we'll see. Arizona, I'm going to say the Jets are going to get the win against the Cardinals, having to come all the way to the East Coast, to the Meadowlands. So the Jets right now are 2-3. At the L.A. Chargers, and they're, again, rookie quarterback right now, but they do have a lot of nice pieces there. Eckler, of course, running back, is a really good running back for the Chargers. Tough guy to slow down. And I'm going to say the Chargers win. So I'm going to say the Jets lose this game, so they'll fall to 2-4. Home to the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to give the Jets a victory. That'll be the third win of the year. Get to 3-4. At the Kansas City Chiefs. It would be nice to get a win. It's going to be a loss. And it'll be 3-5. The Patriots on Monday Night Football. To me, Dan, this could be the game of the year right now. It could be make or break right now for the Jets. They win, they're right in the mix. And I think this division is going to be close all year. I will say the Jets lose a tight one on Monday Night Football at home to the Patriots and get to 3-6 at Miami. And I'm going to say the Jets find a way to pull out a victory on the road in Miami against the Fish, and a much-needed win after a couple of tough losses to the Patriots and the Chiefs. So they'll get the Jets to 4-6. Home to Miami, I'm going to basically do the opposite of you. Yes, I'm going to go win-loss.
Right, thank you.
The second time around, so they'll get to 4-7. The Raiders come into town. I'm going to say the Jets get a win, get to 5-7. At Seattle, the revenge game with Jamal Adams. I'd love to see the Jets get a win, but it's not going to happen. I'm crazy, but I'm not that crazy. 5-8. At the Rams, the Jets are going to get an upset. They get to 6-8. And then home to the Cleveland Browns. And finally, after the as they say, third time's a charm. Finally, the Jets beat Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns, get to 7-8. And then after Patriots, it's a loss. 7-9. Again. Everyone is getting fired. 7-9. Let's get this season kicked off. We are just a few days away from week 1. The Jets at the Bills. Can you feel it?
I can feel it. Let's get it on. Let's get it over with, and let's start this brand new NFL season.
That's the theme of COVID. Let's get it over with. Let's get the season.
Let's get it over with. I want to get rid of this coronavirus as fast as possible.
Let's get rid of 2020 as fast as possible. All right, folks. I want to thank you all for joining us. We'll talk to you next time right here on the Sports Talk Nation.